Hey everyone, welcome to my studio. All right, this week I will be moving forward and getting a bigger chunk of this project finished. It's getting there slowly. Not sure if I'll be able to start the commission this week, but I hope so. Another thing I'm going to tackle this week is I'm actually going to glue a few pieces of glass on the mandala project that starts in a couple weeks, just so people, when the first people that come to work on it will have an idea of what I'm talking about as far as spacing and the size of the pieces. So I've got my color-coded things here. I can barely remember what these notes mean, but I'll figure it out and get started on each one of these, I think. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. All right, I got the go-ahead from my friend to start this mosaic of the Pacific Northwest. I've prepped this project by putting my original layout onto a board, then putting adhesive shelf paper on top of it, and on top of that I have taped on this fiberglass mesh. So I will be gluing directly onto the mesh using weld bond sparingly, and then I will probably cut it into maybe 2 or 3 pieces, sort of in a puzzle piece fashion, and then pack that securely and ship that off to her when it's all complete. And then over here on this side, I've got my color references, because it's a little bit hard to see the colors so much here, but I've got my color references here, and off to the side, I've got my palette that was all over the table. I just moved it and organized it so that everything that was over here on the table is now over here and ready to go. Today's the day. My nephews are finally over here grouting the projects that had been sitting in my garage since they started them during the last school year. A year ago they started these. Here's the other one. It's an owl, and then one of them made this little ornament as well.
I'm done looking over my shoulder. This past time won't help me getting over it. I don't know what I'm bringing in closer. Yeah, I'm looking ahead, looking out for someone like you.
Here's my 11-year-old nephew with his mosaic. All grouted. 3 different colors. Blue for the owl, black for the background, white for the moon. And here's my other nephew with his bear. Just finished grouting today. He used all gray grout, and it's very shiny in the sun. He used some special sparkly glass. Here's how the ornament turned out. Very nice. Black. Now we're gonna see what it looks like in the dark, and we're all in the closet together. Hey! Look, it glows in the dark! I forgot you put that part around the eyes. Buddy, isn't that awesome? Plus the stars in there. You can look at that when you're falling asleep at night. It looks like a W. W.
Ooh, you can see the stars this way.
Oh yeah, heart. Yeah, you need like a night light so you get both. All right, let's get out of this closet. I started on the purple one, and what I just did was cut a few pieces in each area, color coding it so that people would have an idea of how to fill it in. And the lines, we're going to do squares, and because the theme on this one is more of a frozen theme, we're doing triangles, which are more frozen. And then I think the fruit balls, which go in these areas, we'll do last. I was able to get each one of these started, the blue, the purple, and the green. And now they have a lot more work to do. I'm gonna need the community to come in and work on it and get it all knocked out. Hey everyone. Today I wanted to share this little mosaic sample piece that I made for my students and my class that I finished in some of the lessons that I've learned through making it. So the first thing to know is that I planned on making this piece because it's, first of all, a very simple design. It's easy to put together, and it's sort of common and very unique. Everybody's looks different, and that's kind of what makes them great. I used different ceramic pieces and jewelry to make the vase and the flowers, and the background is made with stained glass. So the whole purpose of me making this particular piece was to experiment with different adhesives and to encourage my students to experiment with different adhesives to find out how they work, and then they'll know which ones can be used for what circumstances. So I was familiar with most of the adhesives. There was really only one new one that I tried. So the base I glued on with No Days, and I put that in another video, which I'll link below. But then when I was doing the vase and the flowers, I switched to some other adhesives. So I avoided using Thin Set and Well Done because that's what I use all the time. But I tried a new one for me, which is Loctite Power Grab. And I had one of my students using it, and she said she liked it because it had a slow setup time, and so it allowed her to move her pieces around. And when I used it on this piece, it has some bulk to it, so it was really good for using with the bulkiness of the ceramic pieces. But I found for my personal use, it dried a little bit too slow for this particular project. I am planning on grouting this part right here, but there are some areas where if I shifted around, you could see the glue beneath. And so the lesson learned from that is if I'm going to use Loctite in the future, it's going to be on a project where I need the extra time to move my pieces around a little bit before it sets up. And then also, I would probably only use it if it was a piece I was going to grout. So for the most part, this part I'm not grouting. I was going to use epoxy sculpt for all of the flowers, but I decided to go ahead and use Power Grab for some. And then when it got to the top pieces, I put some on with epoxy sculpt, particularly jewelry, because it's got maybe a bumpy back and needed some of that bulk in there, that extra bulk. And if I was putting it on top of some dimensional pieces, the epoxy sculpt was very easy to use, just like it always is, but it doesn't dry clear. So some of the glass I put on here, like these clear petals right here, and maybe the tempered glass on top of these petals, I adhered with GE2 silicone in clear just because it was clear. And then I used E6000 as my last adhesive, and I only used that for a few pieces that were sticking out, some of these beads, because I think it's a little bit stronger. And I like how it shrinks down so you really can't see it around the base of the little beads. So just the pieces that were sticking out on top, the small ones, I used E6000. I like to use it sparingly because it's so toxic and smelly. I don't want to do a whole project in it, but those are the adhesives that I used in this project. And I hope you try some new adhesives and on a sample project like this, so you can see how they work, and then when you are planning for a bigger project, you'll know what your go-tos are. So I am grouting just this vase part, and to be honest, it probably would have been easier if I just did this before I added the flowers, but I went ahead and taped it all off, and I've mixed some blue grout, and now I'm going to go after it. Getting ready to start on the ferns on my friend's mosaic, and she's a word person, and these are the words that she kept repeating over and over, and so I wrote them down just to be a little inspiration here that I can look at while I'm working on it. I picked out some really nice greens to put in here. They're very dark green, she said, but the area is very, very green. See how dark it is here. I'll be adding some more yellow greens in this area as well. A lot of greenery in this landscape, but these ferns will have the most detail in the foreground. I've been working for a bit and somehow didn't record, but I was able to get this tree that's in the background finished at the top. It's getting there. That's putting it together. Thanks for watching. See you next time.